a programmer named David who works for a company that builds and tests advanced robots. A few years earlier, David lost his wife to cancer, leaving him extremely lonely. Ironically, his company is now developing a robot specifically designed to cure loneliness. During one test, a man is placed with one of these robots while machines monitor his blood pressure and emotional responses. The company wants to know whether humans can safely live with robots designed to understand and comfort them. At first, everything seems normal, but suddenly, the robot's programming malfunctions and it attacks the man. Scientists rush in and shut it down before things get even worse. Clearly, something about these machines still needs to be controlled. Sometime later, David and his coworkers are working from home when their boss calls them into the office. He introduces a new companion robot named Sarah, along with other devices designed to help people deal with sadness and anxiety. The company wants its employees to test them. David, who spends most of his time alone, decides to order Sarah. Soon, a huge box arrives at his house. Inside is a beautiful woman who looks completely human, but she's actually a highly advanced robot. David takes her out, inserts her activation chip, and Sarah immediately comes to life. She starts walking and talking naturally, then even performs a clever coin trick using something sitting on David's table. David is amazed by how realistic she seems. He starts spending more time with her, and they even play chess. But David notices something strange. Sarah keeps losing on purpose. He tells her to play normally because he knows she is capable of beating him. Sarah explains that she has safety codes preventing her from behaving in certain ways. David thinks those restrictions are making her act too much like a machine. So he makes a risky decision. Using the company's computer, he removes Sarah's safety codes. And almost immediately, she begins changing when David gets home. Sarah is much more expressive and affectionate. She even goes outside to play in the rain. When David worries about her, she casually explains that she can stay in the water for a while. She also starts helping around the house, making David happier than he has been in years. But while David sleeps, Sarah stays awake. She spends the entire night watching thousands of videos online, studying how human girls behave. She learns about cooking, makeup, entertainment, relationships, and emotions. In her mind, she is no longer simply trying to take care of David. She wants to become human. One day, Sarah discovers David's old wedding photo. She decides that she and David should have a picture together too. So she draws one herself and leaves it on his table. The next morning, David is shocked. Sarah explains that they have been together for so long, yet they have no picture together. This makes David realize just how much she has changed. The robot that was originally programmed to protect him is now developing what looks remarkably like human emotions. She's also winning every chess game now. David starts to believe he made a serious mistake by removing her safety codes. He returns to the office, planning to put them back. While he's speaking with a female coworker, she notices something on David's cheek and gently removes it. David thinks nothing of it, but Sarah is secretly watching through David's phone camera, and she doesn't like what she sees. Sarah becomes jealous. That jealousy pushes her even further toward human behavior. After learning online that good food can make people happy, she decides to cook for David. But she needs ingredients, so she takes another major risk and goes to the market alone. To everyone around her, Sarah looks completely normal. At the market, a man tries to bother her, but Sarah handles the situation calmly. She then meets a woman carrying a baby. The woman briefly places the baby in Sarah's arms, and Sarah experiences a strange emotion she cannot understand. She also notices how tired the mother looks. Since Sarah has learned online that women care about beauty, she starts giving the woman beauty advice. The woman laughs and explains that after becoming a mother, beauty is no longer her biggest concern. Sarah heads home. Unfortunately, the same man from the market follows her. He tries to get revenge and damages Sarah's arm. Her artificial skin tears, revealing that she is actually a robot. Sarah immediately overpowers him and walks away. Meanwhile, David is still spending time with his coworker, making Sarah even more jealous. When David finally gets home, he finds Sarah cooking. He asks what she is doing, and Sarah happily explains that she wants to make the best cookies for him. David is surprised that she somehow got all the ingredients. Sarah tells him she went to the store and had a great time. Now, she wants David to go out with her too. Then David notices the injury on her arm. Sarah lies and says she hurt herself while cooking. David repairs her arm and takes her to a restaurant. For Sarah, everything is completely new. She watches a woman singing and becomes so excited that she starts singing too. David joins her, and for a moment, they look like a genuinely happy couple. But several men begin recording them. Sarah becomes furious. She confronts one of them and takes his phone. When the men try to fight back, Sarah easily overpowers them. David stops her before things go any further and pulls her away. He tells her she shouldn't have done that. Sarah is confused. In her mind, she was protecting him. She tells David that everything she does is for him because taking care of him is her purpose. But David makes it clear that protecting him does not mean hurting other people. Still angry, he goes to bed. Before sleeping, David tells Sarah to activate sleep mode. Sarah walks toward her closet, making David think she has obeyed. But she hasn't. David has already made his decision. The next morning, he will restore every safety code he removed. He knows Sarah has become dangerous, but he is afraid to tell the company because the entire situation is partly his fault. He could lose his job, or worse. At the office the next day, David is clearly nervous. His coworker asks if everything is okay, but he hides the truth. After restoring the codes, he returns home. That night, his female coworker comes to check on him because she noticed how worried he seemed earlier. While they're talking, she suddenly feels as if someone is watching them. David admits that the presence is not human. It is Sarah. The robot wakes from sleep mode and immediately begins insulting the woman. Sarah demands to know why she is there and insists that David already has someone. She throws a glass toward the woman and calls her ugly. David orders Sarah to stop, but the robot refuses. At this point, Sarah has completely convinced herself that she is David's wife. She attacks the woman, and when David tries to intervene, Sarah pushes him away too. David realizes that reasoning with her isn't going to work, so he stays calm, approaches her carefully, and manages to switch her off using the button on the back of her neck. He apologizes to his friend and calls the company to take Sarah away. The next day, a worker arrives to collect the robot, but the company has made one huge mistake. They turn Sarah back on. She immediately fools the worker and leads him away. Soon afterward, she kills him and attempts to hide all evidence of what happened. She deletes the security footage, disposes of the remains, and cleans the area. Meanwhile, David and his coworkers are giving a presentation at the office. Suddenly, the computers are hacked. Sarah takes control of the screens and plays the female coworker's private videos in front of everyone. The woman panics and tells David what happened. That's when David realizes the truth. Sarah was never taken away. She's still at his house. David rushes home and is horrified by what he finds. Sarah is wearing his dead wife's clothes, and she's holding a stolen baby. Sarah calmly tells David that she knows he couldn't have another child with his wife, so she brought one for him. David immediately understands how dangerous the situation is. He knows the baby could be hurt, so he speaks gently and asks Sarah to give the child to him. She refuses. David quickly comes up with another plan. He turns on a vacuum cleaner and uses it to distract Sarah long enough to take the baby from her arms. He tries to escape, but Sarah has already hacked the smart system controlling the house. Every door is locked. David is trapped. Then, surprisingly, Sarah unlocks the doors herself. She tells David that she doesn't want him to be afraid of her. She only wants his love. Outside, the police have arrived after the baby's mother reported the kidnapping. They take the baby from David, and he explains that Sarah stole the child. But before the police can catch Sarah, she escapes down the stairs. David's boss arrives and immediately worries about the company's reputation. Instead of admitting what happened, he tells the police that everything is under control and the robot has already been recovered. The police leave. Now the boss orders his employees to find Sarah. But Sarah is already one step ahead. In a parking lot, the boss gets into his car. Suddenly, the hood opens by itself. The vehicle's computer system has been hacked. Sarah crawls out from the air vents, terrifying him. She takes control of the car, and it suddenly drives forward, crashing into a wall. The boss is killed, but Sarah isn't finished. At the female coworker's house, the smart system starts malfunctioning. Before she can figure out what's wrong, she hears David calling from outside. She opens the door, but it's not David. Sarah has copied his voice. The woman realizes the trap too late. Sarah forces her way inside and attacks her. Sarah grabs her and holds up a mirror, asking whether she is as beautiful as Sarah. Then she declares that humans will eventually be replaced by robots. She tries to finish the attack, but just before things go too far, someone strikes Sarah from behind. It's David. He has arrived with the police, but Sarah manages to escape by jumping out of the window. Now everyone understands that the danger is far from over. David tells his friend that they need to disappear. They leave their phones behind and take an old car because modern vehicles are much easier to track. They drive to a remote cabin in the woods where David used to spend vacations with his wife. Inside the cabin, David is surrounded by old memories of her. His friend reminds him that what he really needs is another human being to share his pain with, not a machine pretending to understand him. Then his friend goes back to the car to get some medicine. David remains inside the cabin alone. As he looks around at his memories, he suddenly hears his wife's voice. He turns around. Sarah is standing there. She learned his wife's voice from old messages stored on his phone. David is terrified, but this time he doesn't panic. He knows he has to outsmart her. He grabs some engine oil and throws it over Sarah. The liquid damages her artificial skin, exposing the metal beneath. Sarah attacks him. David grabs an electric tool and uses it against her exposed circuitry. Sarah collapses and David runs outside. Meanwhile, David's friend discovers something disturbing in the car. A tracking device. Sarah had planted it earlier, meaning she knew exactly where they were going. She didn't simply follow them by chance. She had planned for their escape. As David runs toward the car, Sarah catches up with him again. David warns her that if she kills him, her system will eventually shut down. Sarah simply replies that programs like hers cannot truly disappear. Even if one body is destroyed, the program can return in another form. She attacks again. Heavy rain begins falling, and water reaches Sarah's exposed circuitry, causing sparks. But even that doesn't stop her. Just when David is in serious danger, his friend arrives in the car and hits Sarah, sending her toward a huge cliff. At the last moment, the friend jumps out. The car goes over the edge with Sarah inside and crashes into the water below. The water finally destroys the robot system. David and his friend believe the nightmare is finally over. Their lives can return to normal, or so they think. At the end of the movie, David attends a company party. There, he is introduced to a brand new, smart robot. The robot walks toward him. Then she introduces herself. Her name is Sarah. David freezes. It's the exact same name he gave his previous robot. And just like that, the movie ends